What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DT again, and I am back with another episode of Dolphins with Dillon. There's not a whole lot going on. Training camp is literally right around the corner. Let's see, tomorrow, as of tomorrow, the rookies are supposed to report to camp, and next week on the 25th, the veterans are reporting to camp, and then by that point, man, everything is fully underway, and we are ready to go, and it's exciting. Things are ramping up. Got a couple articles here that I want to talk about, go over and talk about. So we'll jump right into it. The first one is by the Daily Dolphin, entitled "Everything Moves Smoother as Tannehill Takes Command." And so this is their breakdown of Tannehill. 6'4", 216 pounds, from Texas A&M. He'll be 30 when the season begins. 7th NFL season, all with Dolphins. First round pick in 2012. In the second year of a 4-year, $77 million contract extension. Missed last season with a knee injury. Straight talk. If you didn't know something was terribly wrong with Ryan Tannehill about a year ago, you wouldn't have known it by watching him this spring. That, in one sentence, answers the question I hear most often about the Dolphins. Jason Taylor likes to call spring workouts the underwear Olympics. Without pads, hitting, or tackling, only so much can be gleaned from it, sort of like watching curling. Nonetheless, Tannehill came out determined to make a statement from the start. It couldn't have been happenstance that the Dolphins planted a camera at the door to get that shot for social media of Tannehill jogging out of the building and onto the practice field for the first time, most notably without either a brace or a trace of a limp. From there, positive signs. His arm. Tannehill was on the money this spring, showing no signs of rust. That point can't be emphasized enough because his most trusted target and outlet, Jarvis Landry, wasn't also jogging out of that same door. Tannehill had to work his way back while growing accustomed to new receivers Danny Amendola and Albert Wilson, plus 2 tight ends drafted in the first 4 rounds. That's enough to throw at any quarterback, let alone one who, assuming he starts the opener, will be taking a snap that matters for the first time in 637 days, or 1 3/4 calendar years. Sorry about that. Excuse me. You could tell he has a total grip of the offense, Coach Adam Gase said. Everything just moves smoother. That's just experience, whether it's in this offense or just football in general. He's been in the league for a little bit. When the defense throws something different at him, he has a way to solve the problem faster than probably what he did 3 or 4 years ago. His legs. Gase likes to point out that Tannehill's original injury came when he was hit in the pocket against Arizona late in the 2016 season. It can happen at any time, and you can't play scared, in other words, so Tannehill will have the green light to run as necessary. He's going to play his game, Gase said. I don't think he really ever put himself in harm's way to begin with. I thought he was always smart. Don't forget that before the injury, Tannehill was quick and elusive enough to rush for as many as 311 yards in a season, and he survived some brutal beatings, as many as 58 sacks in a season. His first several years in the league as the Dolphins couldn't find anybody better than Dallas Thomas and Billy Turner to play guard. He's tough, in other words, and he plans to wear a brace during games. His leadership. Completing the picture are the intangibles. The Dolphins, and Gase in particular, never wasted a chance to toss lavish praise on Tannehill for the leadership he's showing now. Tannehill is our guy and he's our leader, tight end Marquise Gray said. Prospects for 18. The Dolphins made it clear from day one that Tannehill was their starter. Now it's up to him and good fortune to make sure his knee holds up and he stays that way. Tannehill's due $51 million over the next 2 years. He was drafted 6 years ago and is turning 30 this year. How strange is it, then, that the Dolphins still don't know exactly what they have in him? Is he the quarterback who still hasn't won more than 8 games in a season? The Dolphins would like to think he's the guy who started to peak in his first season under Gase, recording a career-best 93.5 passer rating in 2016. Gase seems confident we'll see a better Tannehill than we ever have before. Call it coincidence, call it a subtle dig, but on the day the Dolphins completed their offseason program, Gase was asked for his general impressions of Tannehill this spring. Only a day earlier, it was reported that Landry had taken a swipe at Tannehill, saying they didn't have the best of relationships and didn't get together on their own for off-season workouts like Landry is doing with his new Browns teammates. Gase's response to the Tannehill question: "You see that he jumped right back in there and guys were rallying around him and ready to go. He's got good rapport with those guys. Those guys are around each other a lot in the off-season when we're not. Those guys seem to be pretty close and they're working well together, and I know those guys are pushing each other." Those guys. Those guys are going to be fucking nasty this year. Mark my words, dude. Tannehill is going to be an elite quarterback. Look, I know, he doesn't have an overall winning record. I know that, he's had things to work on, and he's had all these coordinators and head coaches and blah, 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 right? And now he's had, coming off finally, back to full strength from this knee injury. But everybody's judgment of Tannehill, the people who hate on him only talk about, either very narrow-minded things, like very certain specific aspects, without acknowledging a whole bunch of other information, or they just, I don't know, they don't give the man the credit that he's due. I mean, the reason why, he isn't as successful wins and loss-wise as we would want him to be or should be, for his talent and his ability and his smarts and all that good shit, is that, a lot of it's not his fault. Being the most sacked quarterback in the league for his first 4 seasons. All that turnover and coaching staff and everything, man. But this year, I'm telling you, mark my words, people, this is the year it's all coming out. Alright, next article is by the Dolphins Wire, and is, what is the safest Dolphins jersey to buy? So here's what they have to say. The Dolphins have not had a ton of star power in recent years, which is shown in the lack of jersey sales. Since 2014, the go-to jerseys seem to be Jarvis Landry with Ndamukong Suh, Cameron Wake, and Ryan Tannehill mixed in between. Now the Dolphins are down to Wake and Tannehill after going the separate ways with Suh and Landry. So which jersey is left to purchase outside of veterans Tannehill or Wake? Minkah Fitzpatrick. Typically, rookies are a massive gamble for any fan when talking about jerseys to buy, but Fitzpatrick could be a franchise player in the face of the Dolphins' defense. He has the playmaking ability that fans can get excited about. Xavier Howard. Howard really turned it on last year, especially during the second half of the season. His understanding of how to defend different route concepts was on full display during Monday Night Football against New England. Howard has potential to be a lockdown corner for the Dolphins for years to come. Boom, boom, boom. Kenny Stills, the former Oklahoma receiver, has made a name for himself on and off the field. Stills has shown leadership with the young receivers, giving them advice and mentoring them, even though he is only 26 years old. Stills would be a jersey well worth purchasing. Kenyon Drake. This should not be a surprise to see Drake on this list since he led the league in rushing during the last 5 weeks of the season. He has shown big playability against stingy run defenses, making him another young player for fans to get excited about. Laramie Tunsil. Entering his 3rd year in the league, Tunsil is still young as he is entering his 2nd year at left tackle. The former Ole Miss product has the talent to be an elite left tackle, and if he shows that ability this year, his jersey could be worth a buy. Raekwon McMillan. Unfortunately, the Dolphins did not get to see what McMillan could do last season as he suffered a season-ending ACL injury. During organized team activities in minicamp, McMillan picked up right where he left off prior to his injury as he looks to be the heart and soul of the defense. Fans have not had a linebacker jersey to buy since Zach Thomas. McMillan could easily be the next big-time linebacker for the Dolphins in a jersey that could be worth the purchase. The Dolphins have a young core on offense and defense, which could be good news for jersey buyers, as they will have more choices to purchase. Then again, fans can always create their own jerseys. So, I think all those players are going to have really good seasons. I think they're all going to be staples of the team for years to come. And I would totally get, every one of their jerseys if I could afford it. They're like $100 at least dollars a piece or more. So it's you gotta get them one at a time. But I mean, shit. Right now, I need to get some defensive players, man. Like maybe Fitzpatrick or Rashad Jones or Cam Wake or Charles Harris or Xavier Howard or somebody, man. I don't know. But I've got all offensive players right now. Let's see, I have an old school Ricky Williams jersey. I actually have a Noshawn Moreno jersey from the 1 year that he was with us. I have a Landry jersey. I have a Devontae Parker jersey and a Ryan Tannehill jersey. So the only two, all offensive players, and then the only two that I have that are relevant currently are Tannehill and Parker. So I definitely need to upgrade my jersey. I'm gonna get one for sure this year. I want to get a throwback jersey. Most of my jerseys, I have my let's see. My Ricky Williams jersey is a white jersey with the old logo. Noshawn Moreno jersey, I believe that might be the new logo, but all the rest of them, the Noshawn, the Landry, the Parker, those are all green jerseys, or blue jerseys. And then I have my Tannehill jersey is a color rush, so I need to get one of the old school jerseys when they bring them back this year. So we'll see. We'll see who I get. I'm sure I'll wear it once I get it. I like to try and get at least a jersey every year. Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, moving on. Next article is from the Dolphins Wire. Kenyon Drake makes NFL.com's best running back list. It's funny, actually, because there's been, real quick before I get into this, there's been so much hate towards the Dolphins, but as we keep getting closer to training camp and the season, I feel like a little bit more they're starting to say some good shit about us. Every once in a while, from different places, they've been starting to actually say some nice things. Alright, Kenyon Drake made a huge splash late last season as he led the league in rushing during the final 5 weeks of the season. Now that he is set to enter his third season in the league, Drake has been named to a distinguished list. Greg Rosenthal of NFL Media listed Drake as the 14th best running back entering the 2018 season in his latest article ranking the best players at that position. Drake was never a primary back in college, but he played like one in a fiery 5-game stretch to end last season. This is by Greg Rosenthal from his article. The game tape showed a rare combination of suddenness, power, and versatility. He led the league in rushing after Week 13, and only Alvin Kamara topped Drake in elusive rating last season, according to Pro Football Focus. He practically beat the Patriots by himself. It's a small sample size, but I'm sold. Drake played in 16 games in 2017, starting 6 times as he recorded 133 carries for 644 yards with 3 touchdowns. He also caught 32 receptions for 239 yards and a touchdown. During the last 5 weeks of the season, Drake ran for 444 yards, which did lead the league during that span. However, during the Dolphins offseason program, Drake downplayed the stat as some of the league's leading rushers sat out Week 17. Everybody likes to use that statistic. I had the most rushing yards, but it's not like Todd Gurley played the last game or anything, Drake said to reporters in May. I guess I got that by default. Despite the Dolphins, he's just being humble there, which is actually great, though, because, obviously one of the things about him was, his maturity earlier on, and he's definitely showing at this point so far to be much more mature. When we need that from Tunsil, who seems to be doing the same, and Parker, who seems to be doing the same, and I think they're all going to have really big seasons. Despite the Dolphins acquiring both Frank Gore and Kalen Ballage this offseason, Drake will enter this season as the starting running back. Being the leading back is uncharted territory for Drake, as he was buried on the depth chart in college at Alabama. For the first time since probably high school, Drake will have a full season to show that he can be an impact starter for a team. So I think it's going to be, I've said this before, Drake, elaborate a little bit more, though, and be a little more specific. Drake is going to be the starter. Frank's going to be in there getting touches, giving him rest, and, changing it up, making it. Plus, they will have running back sets where there's, or play sets where there's more than one running back as well. I think Drake's going to hit 1,000 yards rushing and probably at least 500 yards receiving. Gore's probably going to have a solid, 750-ish yard season rushing. And, Balaj is just going to get his little mix wherever it comes from and however much he can get. But, I do think that Balaj will get more snaps and more time as the year goes on, as he learns the system better, he gets more of a feel for things, so on and so forth. But they're going to be nasty, bro. They are going to be nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Alright. Let's see. I got one more, and it's from the Finsider. It's the Ryan Tannehill over-under prop bets. The 2018 NFL season is slowly approaching, including the rookies from the Miami Dolphins reporting back to the team tomorrow. In the build-up for the season, betting lines and over-unders for the games throughout the year are starting to come out as well. While most of these odds focus on the games themselves, this week, betonline.ag posted their prop bets for players around the league, including a few bets out there for Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Today we will see what you think will be the results for those bets. They listed the over-under for Tannehill's passing yards at 3,750 yards, while his touchdowns are set at 24.5 and interceptions are 12.5. Do you think he will reach these marks and surpass them, or will he fall short of them? Below you will find a series of polls. Okay, so, and I did these polls. Real quick though, I want to say that they have, it's funny, it's interesting, right? Because, because obviously, Vegas and all these odds makers, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, they don't have us doing very well, right? ESPN, I think, was the best. It had us like 8-8, and then I think Sports Illustrated was one of the worst. It had us at like 3-13. The over-under here for Tannehill, for his personal productivity, is 3,750 yards. So they think he's going to get to 3,750 yards. 24.5 touchdowns. We'll round that up 25, and 12.5. We'll round it up to 13 interceptions. If that is the case, that's a solid year. Which means we should go at least 8-8, if then you throw in the rest of it, defensive production and stuff like that, at least. But I think he's for sure going to surpass that. So here, the polls, I voted that he's going to have more yards than that. I think he's going to surpass 4,000 pretty easy, honestly. And out of 428 total votes, 362 went to over. So 85% think he's going to get more than that. For touchdown passes, there were 423 total votes, and 78% went to the over, with 328 votes going there. So 78% think he's going to have more than 24.5 touchdowns. And for the interceptions, there were 421 votes, with 253 votes going to under. So that's 60% that thinks he'll have less interceptions. Honestly, I think this is going to be a year where Tannehill, I really think he's going to super break out with the rest of the fucking team that's built around him. This defense is going to be championship caliber, and we're going to have a top 5 or a top 10, if not a top 5 offense. Top 10 on both sides of the ball. And Tannehill's going to have over 4,000 yards easy, with over 30 touchdowns, and man, to finish the year, probably no more than 10 interceptions. No more than 12 tops. Yep. Yep, I have big hopes, high expectations, and fuck it, man. I'm going all the way. We are 6-0 in the division this year, taking a division, AFC East champions with a 12-4 record at a minimum. At a minimum. Going to the AFC championship game. Fuck it. Fuck just winning one fucking game in the playoffs this year. AFC championship game, baby. We are taking that shit. Go. Alright, guys. Well, that's enough for right now. This is the end of my video. As always, if you like it, subscribe, share it, comment, hit the like button. Please, please do it all. Please do it all. And let your friends know, especially if they're Fins fans. And I'll see you again soon.